is they're looking for you. They're expecting you. They are traveling to go see you. Get to Karlsborg for the cosmonaut. It's all happening. It's all happening in Karlsborg. It's happening at last. The cosmonaut will show us all of this. It's just gone crazy. I mean, even Bikstrom is saying, "Listen, people, we don't know everything. Don't make stuff up. Remember, we're scientists," he insists. So he's actually trying to be the voice of reason, but he says, "Please, cosmonaut, if you can hear me, I know you can hear me. Protect these people. They mean well."
Yeah, and he's referring to what people.
Oh my God! You've missed like 4 hours of of things that he's referring to. So it's this barrage, these repeated videos, and they're coming, different timestamps, but so people have traveled there and they have filmed, before they were arrested, and the atmospheric effects are spectacular there. There's a lot of confused footage.
Effects. What are we actually seeing on the craft?
What you are seeing is that Karlsborg Fortress has actually had its part of it is literally gone, and it's gone, and it's the modern buildup, the part that was built upon in the years of the last few decades. Those sections are vaporized, and there is the exterior of that ship that you left out in the ether space, right? Remember when you left out through the window? That has actually been, it's in all of its 1960s construction glory, is at an angle sort of stuck into the side of the fortress, the side and top of the fortress, and the atmospheric effects surrounding it are extremely surreal and open into strange vistas of mental and cosmic space. And so, a person will be trying to film it and then they'll faint, right? And so there's only 2 seconds of footage. And the main one is that the woman, now there's one now he says, Bikstrom says, "This is just in." And this phone image comes up, and she's saying very seriously, this woman is saying very seriously and says, Johannes, I know you're with the cosmonaut. You have to be. Get your ass out here.
Oh, shit.
But
and you look at Johannes and it's like, you know her, right? So.
But she's filming into the camera,
right? But she turns it around, and you can see that she's right outside the fortress somehow, not apprehended as of yet, and clearly she has managed to get past the barricades and has placed herself directly in the center of whatever is happening.
Right.
This is your fiancé, or?
I don't know. It's complicated, but it's no. It's a friend. We need to go.
It seems like a lot of.
I have no idea. I mean, Karlsborg. It's not Angered. Right.
Notice that Ulrika is smart enough to have figured out that if Cosmonaut is connected to this website, or that he must be monitoring these people, or connected to them in some way, that she can manage to get to the two of you.
Yeah. She's clever.
Right. She's not stupid.
Before we go, and I don't own a car. I think we established that.
I go by train. It's the long way around, going Göta Kanal.
That would be a little, that might be. Right.
And then you have to wait for the slussar.
That's right. Then you have to sit there and wait, for the.
That would take like 4 days.
The fastest way is also the most unpleasant, probably, which could be to call.
I can fly, right?
Okay, for you,
yes, but again,
the fastest way for me,
right,
would probably be
to a regional flight, which is not your strong point.
No. I would guess that the best.
I could call the guy we left out on the rock and see if he has a helicopter to spare. If he wants us to go there. Idea. If he doesn't, then it's no use.
Do that, and I will try to get my head into all the information that I fetched out of the system.
That's called detective work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But which one?
Your skill.
Both. Everything.
A great detective work role.
Yeah. I'm the only one with the detective.
Right. Correct.
That's skill, right? Mm-hmm. So I try to find what I'm going to roll.
And you roll your intelligence or less on 3 dice.
Yeah. And I roll 9. So that's
very good. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so many things come together so quickly.
Yes.
The between the files and the news reports that you are able to isolate as the most relevant, and the things you are finding from the flakes and kooks and geniuses at Vistrom's interactions and related things, as well as your secret extraction. The name that I need to introduce you to is right here. Maria Margrethe, let's see, Renström from Skåne. And this woman has just been, she's quite old, has been, the first thing that you will find is that this person who you are discovering they call a gray face is what the files have taken to calling him, Gråansikten, if you want to be Swedish.
Yeah,
and he is that this person has actually descended upon this hospital where she was kept and took her away from the hospital, and then landed at Karlsborg and destroyed part of the installation there when he did it. And your work will quickly figure out who she is. She actually was the power, one of the powerful personalities back in the days, the late days of T. Kontoret and the successive agency, which was EB. And these are the worst of the worst as far as espionage and black ops are concerned. And so she was one of the powerful people involved in running the joint at that time. Now she's very old, and he has seized her and taken her there. And
when we say he, we are talking about Bengt.
It's him. Yeah, Bengt Benson. Yeah.
And that's the Gråansiktet, and he has a cloudy gray eyes.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, remember his face was all gray and wasted, and he had the foggy gray, strange, glowy eyes.
Yeah. And she was, or am I to? He was a kind of she was his partner
or a colleague or something. Yes.
Or
technically, if he was an agent, then technically one of the bosses.
Yeah.
She is one of these interesting people that you often find in these agencies who doesn't really always have a title, but is part of the inner circle of power that, despite the changes in the name of the agency, just doesn't seem to go away.
All right.
And there was the fellow whose name I did not write down, who was indicted as the sort of the bad guy of all of these agencies. And so his name is known, and yet her name is much grayer, much less known. right?
But
So
I mean, he has been trapped inside another dimension since like
the mid
for
70s,
almost
yes.
for 50 years, but
Mm-hmm.
she has not.
Correct.
So she's a really old lady right
Exactly
now.
correct. Yes, she's quite elderly.
Can I quickly access how? What? I mean, she's from Skåne, and I mean, is she like 98 or
Yes,
how
something
old?
like that. Yes. Yeah. She is in her 90s.
And she's like, um, hmm, interesting. She's gray in another way.
Right.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so he went there, yeah, got her. All right. And what more do I? What more valuable information do I get from the stuff that I found in Carlsborg's computer
Yes,
servers?
this is actually quite important because the history is a little bit like this. Um, okay, first of all, that that the discussion in popular culture about cosmonauts that preceded American achievements. So, cosmonauts on the moon before the Americans got there,
Yeah,
cosmonauts during the 1950s doing all sorts of things in space. Those rumors are reinforced by the agency. They like that kind of talk because the actual cosmonaut program was increased. And I mean, we never hear about Russian cosmonauts after 1968 when the Americans went to the moon. We never hear
yeah,
anything about them. Everybody's fascinated about them beforehand, nothing afterward. But that's when they broke, using in part information from the West with psychedelic experiments. They got that information and from their contacts in the CIA, because as you may know, the KGB had completely penetrated the CIA during most of its career, its history. And so they lifted all sorts of information like Project Artichoke and MK Ultra and all of those things, and they put them to work with their cosmonauts who had been coming back saying very strange things already. And so they actually started entering psychospace. They became psychonauts. Instead of space travelers, they became travelers of the psyche. And so the Soviets threw all of their energy into developing this program. Now, so that's what was going on in around 1970. Then the let's see here, and I'm finding out more. I'm looking in my here we are. Yes, after the events of 1973, which is when EB underwent this incredible was exposed for all of its nasty actions, and it was a big scandal in Sweden. And so during those events is exactly when he disappeared, and so clearly he escaped into the ether, right? And so and his job had been to hunt down cosmonauts and kill them, or ether psychonauts and kill them, because this was the right wing side of the Swedish espionage agencies, and they were trying to stop this program. They were
yeah.
trying to stop the Soviets at this level. And so, therefore, he had been involved in that, and he escaped into the ether space at that time. And so, the modern successor to the agency, the people who knew about him were terrified of him, and did their best to bury this information and to keep it secure. And the modern agency really doesn't know anything about him.
So everyone was glad that Bengt Bernson disappeared.
Right.
Into the
Well, I
cycle.
mean, the agency was about to be dismantled and everybody was about to be sent to prison. And
Yeah.
he was one of the most rabid, the most motivated members. And he was also a multiple murderer. And nobody wanted any of this ethernaut, cosmonaut stuff to come out anyway.
Yeah.
So it was better just to shut the whole thing off and to stop talking about it and hope that culturally it would kind of disappear.